So it's
we are live.
I need to put this on the ground. Boss.
I mean, if you want, but it's not blocking your face.
Well, I mean, I'm gonna step over there where it walks.
Okay. And nah, it's not even gonna be really too much in the shot.
Man, yeah. Well, it's just I didn't think about the
waiting for the girl to come in and put the mic on me. Where she at?
I didn't plan that part very well with the whole.
It's always the same kind of person that does the microphone. It's a girl. She's about this tall.
Mm-hmm.
She wears glasses. She's real fidgety. See all she does is drink coffee all day. Let me put this mic on you. What they call PAs. Production assistant.
I'm not sure the rest of the stuff there.
Yeah, I got to go to the barber man and get my beard trimmed up.
Facts.
Fucking Civil War guy.
You need to put the.
Those are two great beards.
Second battle of Gettysburg.
You need to put your Castro cap on. I need to look like a narco. What's going on, guys? This is what you got, the little off the cuff stuff. Yep. Trying to do everything live now with the Sports Den. Now I'm at Big Game James _36 with the Cigar Czar at the Humidor Chris on Twitter, IG, both of us. And this is your Cigar Pairings. We tried to do it weekly, but life happened.
Blame it on the Rona.
Yeah, blame it on the Rona. People were eating bats, and then I learned that some pilgrims didn't wash very well, and we were transmitting that here during the United States and shaking hands. And so what we're doing is we're giving a little bit of medicine now that states are opening up, and we figured it would be a great time to celebrate states opening up with good cigars and try to get this thing going back. This is brought to you by thehumidor.com, the go-to place. Other places are running out. They aren't. Fortunately, we did a really good job of buying stuff to where they said no more free delivery, but you can still type in sportsden and get 20% off. So we can still make it a little bit cheaper, and there's still tons of great specials, pretty much everything that you want. Really appreciate you guys continuing to help that website get better with your questions. Anytime it's down, the best thing to do is just at me, hit up at the Humidor Chris. And if it's not on the site or if something's not up to par, their customer service is A1. Shipping, tons of people have been very, very happy with it. What's going on, man? Long time no see in real life.
I know, man. It's crazy. So, like, it's funny you talk about that. It's like, if there's a glitch with the site, I find out from one of your peeps. It's usually on Twitter. Hey, man, I tried, so that's great, man. Like I said, we're, obviously you're monitoring that stuff, and but 90% of the problems are solved by a customer pointing out a problem,
Right.
It could be something small, it could be something minor, and from the 30,000 feet view, everything's functioning correctly, but there may be one product that's not particularly coded correctly or whatever. So if it's a problem for one customer, then it's important for that customer, it's important for us to fix it. So it's good, man. I like fixing problems. I like people reaching out to me directly, so it's really easy to fix. I just get on the phone and call IT.
So before we get into what we have today, again, one of my favorite brands, overall, one of their lines, kind of a little update on what the cigar industry is going through right now.
Okay, well, the cigar industry, like everybody else, has obviously been affected by this. Mostly, most notably at the retail, most cigar lounges, places you go to enjoy, cigar bars, small shops or whatever, they are having issues because it's difficult. Can't have curbside enjoying a cigar. Yeah, you can go to the place and buy cigars, but what people don't realize is the thing that drives people to go to lounges and bars and stuff is not just to buy cigars, but to enjoy them there and the camaraderie, to have a couple of cocktails and things, and all that stuff is out. So that is, those businesses have done everything they can to stay open and try to do curbside, but they're not able to offer their full product mix, right? So it's difficult for them. From an industry standpoint, from a manufacturing standpoint, almost all manufacturers had to stop producing cigars based on their country. Honduras is like, the government said, you guys got to stop. Nicaragua kind of left it up to the manufacturers. The Dominican was kind of ahead of it too. So most everybody in the DR was kind of the first to close. In Honduras, everybody shut down like overnight. And in Nicaragua, it was kind of up to the manufacturers, and some went a little bit longer than others, but pretty much everybody stopped. So pretty much no one's been making cigars at any level for about 30 days. Some longer than that. Some have done been running partial shifts. But as far as like sitting down and rolling cigars and doing everyday production isn't happening. Now they're obviously still doing farm work and they're still processing tobacco and some of the other things, but the physical part of making cigars, that hasn't been happening. So far, it hasn't affected me personally from getting products allocated to me, right? So fortunately, it seems that the cigar, they had a lot of product. They had enough product to kind of bridge the gap, but eventually it's going to affect. I mean, there's going to be certain items I'm not going to be able to get for a period of time. And down the road, there's a break in it. So somewhere they got to pay the piper,
right?
Not have the product. So it will catch up to us eventually on certain SKUs. But right now we're good for the most part. Almost all the brands we carry, we're in good shape on. The industry has reallocated some stuff. There's some states that can't sell cigars at all. There's some states that are completely cigar shops are shut down. So obviously, they've been able to reroute some of the product that would go to those shops if they can reallocate that for people that are still open. Whether it's liquor channel like us or it's there's some states that have lounges. We were talking about some states never shut anything down.
Right.
So, but for the most part, as we know, across the board, pretty much everyone's been affected by this in the industries. But right now, I think the industry's good. I think some factories are starting to operate again. But as it stands right now, we're in pretty good shape, and I got product coming in every day. So you keep buying, and I keep ordering.
ABC or thehumidor.com. You only get the sportsden hookup on thehumidor.com. So what do we got here? What's the liquor? What's the cigar?
I think we've done this one before, but I'm doing it again because I really like it, and I'm on this quest to get people to drink peaty Scotch. When I talk about peaty, today we got Lefroy 10, which is an Isla Scotch. All Scotch from Isla is like peat bombs, peat monster. When I say peaty, it's smoky.
Right.
You smell it, you smell smoke, it tastes like smoke, right? And I've just never been able to understand when a cigar person tells me, I can drink blended Scotch, but I can't drink that peaty Scotch. Too smoky. I'm like, you're smoking
a cigar.
Yes, smoke in your mouth. How can you not like this mouthfeel and the smokiness of Scotch? It's crazy. I don't understand it, but I know everybody has their own taste. So I'm trying to get the world to give Pete a second chance. Give Pete a second chance. Give Pete a chance. Give Pete a chance. So we won't give Pete a chance. And another cool thing is giving all the sportsden people an opportunity, because next week, those who are on Facebook, you talk about Drew Estate or Drew Estate fans, and if you follow Drew Estate on social media, they do this thing called Sticks and Sips on Wednesday night, where they have Frankie Moreno, a.k.a. Frankie Drinks, and Jonathan Drew, and they have industry people on, and they do pairings. Well, next week, I want to be on the show because they know I'm trying to make Pete cool again, right? And they're going to have the brand ambassador for Lefroy here in the U.S. is going to be on, along with myself and Jonathan Drew, and we are going to pair this very Scotch that we're drinking with this Drew Estate Kentucky Fire Cured cigar. So
barbecue in the stick.
So if you go ahead and get this, if you want to watch the program next week, and you can ask questions because it's live, and they give away really cool prizes. Like if they take your questions, you get really cool stuff. So they're going to be smoking this cigar. So you got plenty of time between now and next week. So I'm giving everybody a heads up. I don't even think Drew Estate's officially announced the lineup yet. They haven't sent out the social media. I think he mentioned it on the show last night at the end of the show, but I may be jumping the gun and I might get yelled at for saying it, but he did mention it last night, so I'm not breaking any news.
So we're breaking.
We're breaking officially here. Breaking news here. So you'll be able to follow along, and you can order this cigar, use your discount. And like I said, we have two different kinds of fire cured. I like the original because it's smoky, still smoky. We also have the sweet. It's the same basic blend, but I think it's just got a little bit of sweet tip. You still get the smokiness, but it's a little sweet. But I prefer the old school smoke. So very, very good cigar. Super peaty Scotch, super smoky cigar. And it's funny because people always say Kentucky Fire Cured, that goes with bourbon. And it does go with bourbon. No doubt about it. I think it goes with bourbon because to me, if you're a Scotch drinker and you drink bourbon, you're like, wow, that's sweet. It's almost like a cocktail.
Yes.
People who drink bourbon and don't drink Scotch, they view bourbon as whiskey. Bourbon is like the pinnacle of whiskey, right? That's how whiskey is. And anything else is weird. For a Scotch drinker, someone who drinks Scotch, well, I'm a whiskey drinker. but I love Scotch. So I drink Scotch. So when I drink bourbon, bourbon is very, very sweet. It's almost like a cocktail sweet to me. So it's a little different, and I love it. Don't get me wrong, I love it. But I think that the Kentucky Fire Cure does a good job of kind of counterbalancing some of that sweetness, and I think it makes a good mix. But I think the Kentucky Fire Cured smokiness with the smokiness of the Scotch is just like a freaking smoke bomb to me. I just think the two just like come together and take it to another level.
This is really doing it for me right now because, like I just told you, I just ate some really
You have
barbecue, and like this right here is bringing out the leftover barbecue flavors in my mouth. And again, one thing like I said about this, it's like a barbecue in a cigar, and it's got two different. You got your smoky bar, you got your smoky, then you got your sweet barbecue. It's a lot of different things that you can get. Actually, since I got you here, one of the questions that I've been getting a lot from people that I don't really know how to answer it, but I've seen it though. So I know, like, they were asking me, how are some cigars flavored? And it was like, do they insert? And I'm like, no, it's infused. It's not really inserted. It's like, because this is natural. Like they have a curing process. They have other things they do. Right. But how do they get this without giving, I guess, the true industry secrets? But the smoky flavor, the sweet flavor, like the acids have a little bit more of a sweet flavor. So how do those get that as opposed to your traditional, not your traditional, but like your undercrowns or your other cigars, right, where you have to have a palate developed to taste the flavors? Almost
everything in this room is mostly just what we call traditional cigars. You have traditional cigars, you have infused cigars. So traditional cigars are going to be nothing. It's going to be tradition. They're only going to get their flavor from the type of tobacco in there. There's no process of infusing flavors. They don't like to use the word flavoring because it thinks like they're dipping the tobacco with some kind of juice. They don't add any chemicals or anything. The infused cigars you're talking about, acid, Kentucky Fire Cure is not one of them. The Kentucky Fire Cure gets its smoky flavor from the Kentucky Fire Cure leaf tobacco that's in the filler. Oh wow! Because when they cure that tobacco in the barn in Kentucky, they fire cure it with woods, the same woods that we smoke meat with, hickory, oak. So that's where you get the flavor, right? Whereas traditionally, almost all premium cigar tobacco is naturally air cured, where it's just hanging in a barn, and there's no smoke. It's just naturally drying. Now sometimes they'll use what they call green fires, which is like propane heaters if they need to heat the barn up. They do that a lot here in the States with stuff like Connecticut shade. You got to heat it up, but for the most part, it's air cured. They don't want anything infused. They want the natural flavor of the tobacco. So Kentucky Fire Cured is traditional cigar just with Kentucky Fire Cured in it. Now an acid, which is an infused cigar, it starts off with regular cigar just like everything else in the room. But then what they do is they take it and they infuse it. And I can tell you the process is very proprietary and very secret. I've never seen it done, but basically what happens, I've kind of figured this out, is they take the cigars and they basically put them in a room, like a sealed room, and then the cigars will absorb through the atmosphere, through osmosis. They'll like if you were smoking meat, well, they will insert these botanicals in this room, and they will naturally absorb it through the air, the flavors.
But it's not something, like you said, it's not something.
Right, there's no dip, and it's
very
not Swisher Great, or like the little 59-cent.
Matt, don't kill us. There's nothing wrong with Swisher Great. Love Swisher. Love Swishers, and you guys know what they're typically used for, but we don't want to disrespect Swisher.
But those are mass market machine made cigars that have added chemical, flavoring components added to what homogenized tobacco, right? So yeah, that's the big difference. Is they won't spray them or anything like that. They just naturally absorb it through the air. Think of like pressure treat, like you put it in a chamber and you take the air out, and it forces these botanicals, whichever flavor components they want to put into the cigar. And the cigar, they can do coffee. You could do this yourself. If you want to infuse your own cigars, just take some mild cigars, a mild cigar, a Connecticut shade cigar, put it in a Tupperware container with some freaking espresso beans, some coffee beans or whatever, and I guarantee you they're going to taste like coffee.
Makes sense. That's why I know some people who in their humidors, they'll take a small cup, a shot of bourbon or whatever, and they'll put it in there. And I guess if it's in there for 90 days, it's probably going to take.
You take a Kentucky Fire Cure cigar and you stick it in in a little desktop humidor with some other cigars, they're all going to smell like Kentucky Fire Carry after a couple of weeks, right? Just because of that natural flavoring. So, yeah, it's a natural process, but yeah, that's how it is. There's nothing.
So one more question, because we got a bunch of people who I know I'm introducing. That was a question for the guys. So I always tell them, they're like, James, what are you smoking? And they want to get in on our essentially our Twitter herd. Right. Don't smoke what we're smoking unless you're a smoker.
Right.
Like, if you're a beginner, you're going to hate cigars and you're going to spend a lot of money. Like, everybody, like the Roy Williams, the not Adrian James, Ed Reed,
those guys
you, Trap J, Ken Hamlin, smoking a while.
Those guys smoke a lot of cigars. But you know what? Even people who smoke a lot of cigars and smoke for a long time and can smoke full-body cigars, just because you do that doesn't mean that's your go-to stick.
Right.
You know, a lot of people, I mean, I smoke full-body cigars, don't get me wrong, and I love full-body cigars, but it doesn't mean I don't like mild cigars too, or medium-body cigars, because I find a lot of times that it's a lot easier to get complexity and all these different complex flavors and have cigars change. You know, it's the first part tasted like this, and then the sweet notes intensified, and they got more coffee and all these different things, these different flavors that you get as a cigar changes. You're going to get those nuances in milder strength cigars, because when you're smoking a super power stick or whatever, you're just getting, you know, it's just hard because it's in your face. You know, it's like punching in your head. It's hard to get little nuances in those full-bodied sticks. So, but yeah, you're right. I mean,
plus sometimes we're getting it measured.
Right.
We're trying to see who shows
some people
who's got the best.
Macho-ness gets into it a lot too. People, and I say that too when it comes to pairing. People will say. Someone asked me the other day. It was like, you know, I'm trying to get into smoking cigars. What goes great with bourbon? And my first thought is, do you smoke cigars? If you're not a cigar smoker, then you don't need to be worried so much about what cigar goes great with bourbon, because you could get in trouble. Get a mild cigar. A mild cigar and enjoy with your bourbon, because even if the cigar, you get a medium to full body cigar that may pair, that a person who drinks and smokes a lot of cigars think that flavor components are great together and they were made for each other. If you don't smoke cigars, you're going to get sick and you're just going to ruin the experience. So you're better off smoking a milder cigar, and it's not going to conflict or fight with the bourbon experience. It's going to kind of be a subtle nuance to the bourbon, and then you work your way up. So with anything, man, you always want to start on the low end of the spectrum. Don't be too concerned about what everybody else is smoking. I want to smoke what he's smoking. Well, you got to be careful, because you don't want to have a bad experience, and then you just assume that all cigars make your mouth bitter and make your throat dry, and then you taste it for 3 days, and that's not the case at all.
The only drink that I've ever had that I consistently have that makes me taste any flavor profile of any cigar is coffee.
Yeah.
Like, when I'm drinking coffee, I get, for some reason, whatever coffee does. Well, I guess coffee, like when you're smelling things, they tell you to smell coffee beans to cleanse your palate, to cleanse your nose, and then you can go back. But like, that's the only thing that really brings out a bunch of flavors and everything.
There's a pretty famous cigar maker. He told me this one time. I won't out him, but he's like, people like to sometimes take chocolate. They try to chocolate with a cigar. He said chocolate will make a shitty cigar taste good.
I believe it.
So he's like, that's the, you know. So I was always keeping it in the back of my mind. But chocolate is, and he's right. The sugar and all this stuff. If you're smoking a cigar, the chocolate, I guess, the sweetness of could help mask some imperfections in the cigar, but it makes everything taste like chocolate. But chocolate is a natural occurring flavor in some tobaccos, right? So you're going to get that in certain tobaccos. You're going to get espresso. You're going to get coffee. You don't have to smoke a coffee-infused cigar to get coffee notes, because that's going to naturally occur in the tobacco. But if you want coffee, like in your face coffee, then you get a coffee-infused cigar.
Right. So a couple points now that everybody's kind of getting back into hanging out with people and social distancing is gone. What are maybe some COVID-19 cigar tips or things that you probably shouldn't do? I'll give one. I actually told my brother-in-law this when he went there. It's like, don't, because he bought the cigar, so you can do that when it's your cigar now. But don't take the cigar and like nose hump it. Like, even if it has this wrap, you're not going to you're smelling the cellophane. And if it's natural, first just think about how many other people might have put that to their nose and done what you're doing. And you really if you want to smell it, you can get the smell from here, like away from your nose.
Right.
But we don't know if you're asymptomatic or you have it or it's running or what's going on. But like, we don't want to smoke the COVID, like just in case. So that's my only thing. Are there any other maybe tips or rules of thumb you can give people as they get into this?
To me, it's normal cigar etiquette. I mean, you should never pick up an uncellophane cigar unless you're walking to the register to pay for it. You should be careful when you handle cigars. There's really no need for you. I mean, you can see everything you need to see from looking at the cigar. Why do you need to handle it? Why you gotta, I see people squeeze them all the time, driving me crazy. Like, what do you don't even know what you're looking for? Right. I've been in 100 factories. I've never seen one quality control person ever squeeze a cigar.
They're not checking like melon.
So yeah, so basically you just slide it down your fingers and you can feel. If you know what you're doing, you can feel any imperfection or any underfill, overfill, whatever. You can almost do it by looking at it. So don't squeeze the cigars. If you want to borrow somebody's cutter, hey, can I borrow your cutter? Don't lick your cigar first. Use their cutter. That's a big thing, right? So I mean, those are little things. Don't just be considerate. I mean, think of common sanitary things that you would do, experiencing other things, and translate that over to cigars. Just be mindful, be courteous, and in the end, it's very important if you're a cigar smoker is to be over the top courteous, because we're always trying to bring new people to the culture, and don't be that asshole that scares people off. It's like, oh, that cigar guy, he's blowing smoke and being a jerk or whatever. So always be as courteous, over the top nice, share when you can. I've always found a rule. One time I was at a place and the guy was complaining about my cigar, so I gave him one. I said, I don't really smoke. Just try when you get home. So I mean, that was the end of the. Stop complaining about it. But that's the whole thing. So just be nice and be clean. Don't do stuff. I mean, think about it. Just think about it before you do it. It's like with anything else. I mean, you wouldn't go to the grocery store, eat some grapes and put it in, things like that. I mean, some people might, but that's not cool. That's not cool. So it's not a sample bar. So the cigar humidor isn't a sniff test. Right. Don't be sniffing and licking cigars that you're not going to buy.
Facts.
That's it.
Well, hopefully we'll get a chance now that things are moving back. Please wash your hands and wash your ass so that we can all be able to not have to go back indoors. So we continue to bring you these samples. Yeah. Actually, at this point, just use soap. Whatever gets you to use soap. But again, we have the Kentucky Fire Curry. It's available at thehumidor.com. Buy a box, buy sampler packs, 20% off if you type in sportsden at checkout. How do you pronounce the scotch?
Lafroig. It's probably one of the most mispronounced things. People mispronounce scotch all the time. But Lafroig, I know, just forget about that. A lot of people say it's Lafroig or Lafroig. Yeah. It's Lafroig. And where it comes from, spelled I-S-L-A-Y, but it's pronounced Isla. Don't be mad at me.
Yeah.
Be mad at Scotland.
Remember, ladies, give Pete a chance. If you don't get anything else from that, give Pete a chance. I don't know what Pete did, but give Pete a chance. It's not that bad. Again, smoky scotch. Scotch is delicious. You gotta love scotch. Hopefully, we'll try to get this done a little bit more frequently now that we have things open. I know a lot of people are asking what cigars to pair, what cigars to go get. I'm like, we do a whole series. If you get lost on Twitter, it's on the sportsden or at BigGameJames_lives IGTV, so you'll be able to see those. You can go on the Sportsden Facebook. It's also now on Sportsden's YouTube live channel. YouTube channel. Make sure you go check us out, The Sportsden. You can go see our live shows. You can go see these and whatever other things that we have going. Appreciate you guys coming out. Please be safe and again, give Pete a chance.
For Pete's sake, man, give him a lot of chance.